Hello, I am Mr. Orange and this is video hashtag 559. Make sure to like, share and subscribe and let's get on with this video. I just want to let you know that I want to break away from Cartoon Network content for a while and I want to move on to other things. I mean, I didn't cover a lot of cartoons from Cartoon Network. I mainly did like a show from an Adult Swim, and I just did like a couple of cartoons from like Canadian Cartoon Network. That being 1001 Nights, 16 Husbands, for example. I've also touched upon anime like Hack Sign and other similar. I'm still not finished with my hack reviews. I think I have one more show from the Hacks franchise that I want to discuss. But while I'm doing that, I'm gonna move on to other things. So just to summarize, I'm breaking away from Cartoon Network. I just want to explore other kid networks from America. I am aware that the big main three of the kid networks from America, that being Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney Channel. I've already, touched upon Cartoon Network, so it's time to move on to the second big three. That would be Nickelodeon. So that's the kid network that I'll be like exploring. So just to clarify, I'm moving on to Nickelodeon shows. And since we're going to talk about Nickelodeon, I might as well give you a whole backstory about my part of Nickelodeon. Basically, I'm sharing you my perspective or my history about this network or related. I think I mentioned it in my Cartoon Network, but I'll just say it here. In the UK, we we have had like our own channels. Like we had CBBS, BBC, CBBC, CITV, Pop. Though we had those, they were always free. But we did also have like American channels like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and their own sister channels. We did have those. But, those channels you did have to pay to watch them. Just to, so you know, like, I think if you were rich, you were lucky to watch these American channels in your home. But I personally wasn't one of those, so I didn't grow up watching Nickelodeon shows, at least not from directly from those channels. There were ways where you could like potentially watch a cartoon from Nickelodeon. Like they may be distributed in these like British channels like CBBC, CITV, Pop, and its sister channels. Like for example, like SpongeBob will likely be on CITV sometimes, and other Nickelodeon shows as well. Like I do recall like being as a kid like watching SpongeBob on CITV. So that's how I watched it. I do recall like being like, I think when I was 15 or 16, that is when I did have to pay, did want to pay to watch Nickelodeon and other things like that. I think in Sky we did have that broadband thing, and so everything else was like accessible to watch, but it was like a 1 year plan, so and that ended, so we couldn't able to watch them anymore, so it's back to the regular things. But for that 1 year runtime, I think I recall myself like always drawn to Nickelodeon out of the three main channels. Like I think I watched more Nickelodeon than I did with Cartoon Network and Disney Channel. I'm not sure why, but I think I was more addicted to watch cartoons from there. I mean, I always wanted to watch things from Cartoon Network and Disney Channel, but there was like part of my brain like I'm just addicted to Nickelodeon, and I just have no clue. And I feel like Nickelodeon's like has more faults with it than the other channels, so I have no idea why I was drawn to it. Like I think I can list so many faults from Nickelodeon, what the decisions they made. I think I will talk about that in later bit, but yeah, it's funny how I've thought of Nickelodeon as a child and how I think of it now. And I did eventually find out that Nickelodeon isn't like owned by itself; it's owned by Paramount Plus. I think they also own like MTV and all that stuff. That's all I can say about like my history with this channel. Anyway, it's time to talk about Nickelodeon's many faults and stupid decisions they made. By the way, I highly recommend checking out Saberspark's on video where he did like what ruined Nickelodeon. He also did it for other channels and entertainment companies. You should check him out. He's amazing. The first dumb decision that Nickelodeon made that I want to talk about is something to do with Adventure Time. Apparently, Nickelodeon rejected Adventure Time twice. Like when I first heard that, I was like, Nickelodeon must be dumb. Because right now at Cartoon Network, Adventure Time is doing so well right now. Like, why would you reject so many great authors? I feel like um, Adventure Time isn't the only show that they rejected. Apparently, they rejected the Owl House, from what I've learned from like Vailskibum. I do feel like if Owl House was put by Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, I feel like they would like support it like when it comes to the LGBT a lot more than how Disney does it, because Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon they do put like LGBT representation, like how I think of Loud House, like Luna's girlfriend, Sam, or like Clyde's fathers, or how I think of Steven Universe. I think Owl House would have been okay, but I don't understand why Nickelodeon like rejected it. I feel like they're playing it safe or something. I feel like they've prioritized SpongeBob out of everything. I feel like Nickelodeon has become more like a SpongeBob channel rather than a Nickelodeon channel. The next decision I feel like isn't a dumb decision, but I think it's a terrible decision that has happened to Nickelodeon. And I'm talking about this show called Doug. I didn't grow up with it, but I have researched upon it. It used to be on Nickelodeon. I think from what I've watched, it looks like it's better, and I think fans really enjoyed it. And I think it's pretty fun. But now that it's moved towards Disney, I don't think fans loved it. And from what I've seen from Disney, it just feels like a watered down version of the Nickelodeon. I just feel like the Disney version of Dog feels too polished. I think it loses the charm and the coziness. So I think Nickelodeon no longer having Dog and is being on Disney. That I think is a issue. I have heard rumors from like other people, like actors from Nickelodeon going to Disney instead. Like I've heard about I think Quinton reviews mentioned it in his video, in his iCarly video, where if you know Freddie Benson's mother, the actor who plays her, I think she now. What I've watched, I think it was the show called Bunked. It's like a It's a spin-off show of Jessie that I used to watch. So yeah, she is placed in that show. Like both Jessie and Bugged are shows from Disney Channel. So from what I've seen and heard, yeah, it seems like Nickelodeon have lost a lot of like actors from the channel and they moved towards Disney. Yeah. Also, I feel like I need to remind people like Nickelodeon has had like creepy situations with like creators being pedophilic with cast members. Like for example, like the infamous Dan Schneider. Like not gonna lie, Dan Schneider made like a lot of addictive shows like Drake and Josh, iCarly, Victoria, Sam and Cat, and many others. But we can't ignore the fact that Dan Schneider was a pedophile. And Dan Schneider isn't the only Nickelodeon pedophile that I know. Apparently, the Loud House creator, Chris Savino, was also a pedophile. Which I do think is a shame. When Chris Savino was like caught red-handed, he did get fired, and I think Loud House, without Chris Savino, it just the quality just dropped. I think I enjoyed season 1 and 2, but season 3 onwards, it just wasn't good, and I can tell like he didn't work on those seasons. Also, Loud House did have a spin-off show called Casa Grandes, and from what I've heard from other people and from the ratings, Casa Grandes doesn't seem to be that popular. I think it just lacks the quality that Loud House had in the first 2 seasons. I think it's the fact that Casa Grandes doesn't have Chris Savino. I'm not too sure, but like it just didn't have the charm that Loud House had. Um, I feel like Casa Grandes would have been great because it does like represent from like Latino families, and I think that's a big thing. And knowing about this, it makes me feel like Nickelodeon should be held responsible for letting these pedophiles run loose in their channels. There are other things that I want to point out from Nickelodeon, the like terrible decisions they made. Like for example, ruining Winx Club. Like I should know this because as a Winx Club stan, I need to say it. Like Unicorn of War did videos on it as well, like how Nickelodeon ruined it. But I will explain like the terrible specials that they put on Nickelodeon, and like seasons 5, 6, and 7. I didn't mind season 5, but 6 and 7 they were like not good. Honestly, if Focus was still around, they would have done season 4 onwards justice. Also, not to mention that Nickelodeon also did like live action of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those live action shows were good. Despite all this, Nickelodeon still remains like one of my favorite channels. Like I'm still attached to like some of the cartoons or live action shows that were in that channel. Like I was huge fan of iCarly and Victorious, as well as Loud House and SpongeBob and many other cartoons that were in it, like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Anyway, Nickelodeon does have 2 sister channels. The first one being Nicktoons, and Nick Jr.'s being the second sister channel. So Nicktoons was basically a channel for basically cartoons, and Nick Jr.'s basically a channel for little kids at preschool. And I think the main Nickelodeon channel is used to have would have like mainly live action shows. It would sometimes would have like cartoons in there, but it's mainly like live action shows, kind of like how Disney Channel is. So going forward, I'll be talking about Nickelodeon as well as Nicktoon and Nick Jr. cartoons, um, just for now. And I do think of making a top 10 video about Nickelodeon live action shows, because I did this before with, Pop, BBC, and ITV. I want to do this for Nickelodeon as well, because there's so many live action shows from Nickelodeon that I want to talk about. So, yeah, that's definitely going to happen in this channel. I'm just so excited to explore Nickelodeon with you. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm moving on to Nickelodeon. And yeah, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and have a lovely day.